Okay, as I always say, A train goes city to city, state to state, coast to coast. That means this train picks up passengers. And right now, I do have a passenger. We are having some technical issues, but we're going to try to make this thing work. My next guest, he is on a national championship football team. I'm kind of jealous because when I went to school there back in the 80s, we didn't have nothing that resembled anything national champion except a basketball team. So that means the band had to endure some losing football programs. So I'm pretty sure people like Scott Stiles and some of the other players from the past, they can appreciate what's going on at Hutch. My guest, not just any guest, he is the quarterback, QB, the one that commands all the attention. Hudson Farrellas, and I hope I pronounced that last name right because I know a lot of people get it wrong, and I'm probably one of a long list of people that get that name wrong. But I'm hoping I got it right. So, good afternoon. And like I say, we're having some difficulties because I'm not hearing his audio in my feed, but we're going to try to make things work. So, I'm going to ask a series of questions. And first of all, I want to ask him, what does it feel like to have that name, National Championship, associated with your name?
I mean, it feels good. Definitely puts the target on the back for sure. It makes me want to work, harder because I want to go back to back. So the grind, it's a constant chase because each team is different every year, and this year looking to play like to start and to get some reps and um, have things to chase, and I want another ring. So it feels good to have it attached to my name.
All right. So you had a journey that took you from high school to college, but prior to that, at what age did you start playing football, and what was it that attracted you to the game of football, whether it be your favorite college team, your favorite NFL team? What was it that attracted you to the game of football itself? And were you also a multi-sport athlete? Because most people in high school, even though they may have a main sport, sometimes they play multi-sport. So what was your attraction to football, and were you a multi-sport athlete?
Football. Growing up, I was a big Oregon fan. I like seeing Marcus Mariota. D'Anthony Thomas wear the uniforms, go out there and um, pretty much put the ringer on everybody. Um, but that was kind of like the first um, big influence. I was like, yeah, I want to be like those guys on TV. Um, and then, yeah, I was a multi-sport athlete growing up. I did a lot of track, um, basketball here and there, but I wasn't a big basketball kid. But track-wise, I mean, I traveled the country for AAU and um, two-time All-American in that and javelin throwing. But we spent a lot of time on the road, whether it was through football or track.
So all American I'm talking to now. I'm not just talking to just any person. I'm talking to an all American. But yet at the same time, now I can absolutely say this. Being being an all American, you are a humble young man. And I say that for this reason right here, because you could have been doing anything on Saturday, probably some 707 drills. I don't have time for a interview on a podcast on a guy I never met before. You could have been like, send me a link so I could check it out. And sometimes that's usually like the kiss of death. Like, all right, send me a link. I'm gonna check it out. I know good well I'm not gonna get on this guy. But that's why I can always say my show is number one in the state of Kansas, not because of me, but because of guests like you, for instance. So, who are some of the people that inspired you to excel? I mean, some people that wouldn't let you quit when you felt like quitting, because I know to get to where you're at, there were some days that you have probably questioned, is this worth it all? So, who were some of the people that were instrumental in you reaching this height in your career?
First, my dad for sure. Um, Growing up, I remember there were times where I was tired, didn't want to do anything, and my dad was like, "Well, look, we're going to the field, whether you like it or not. Um, you're going to put in that work, whether it was early up in the morning before school or it was late at night after a long day of doing whatever I was doing." Definitely my dad for sure. Um, and then coaches I had in high school. My coach at Wichita Collegiate, Coach Black, he's a good dude. He was a dude that um, I definitely enjoyed being around because not only did he care about the game, he cared about us as his players, and that was enough for me to, you know, want to give it my all. Outside of hey, I got things to work for. I want to play college ball, but I had a respect for him that I really wanted to chase and put not only our school on the map for a top contender that year, um, but kind of excel my other teammates. Um, but he was definitely a big role in that. Um, so my dad, my coach, um, definitely my mom. My mom, I know my mom expects a lot of me too, more so outside of football. But she never, her biggest thing was don't be lazy. If you're gonna work for something, work for it. With everything you got. Um, and she definitely held me to a high standard. So
Now, with all your influences, who was instrumental in helping you decide? Because there is a process, and it's called recruiting. How many four-year schools pitched you an offer before you decide to go the two-year route? Because my thinking is this right here. When it comes to college football recruiting, especially now that we have what's called the transfer portal, to me, and maybe you can attest to this, but to me, it seems like with the transfer portal, it seems like the high school athlete gets overlooked unless he's like a 5+ star athlete. Most colleges aren't knocking on their doors right now. You have to be that special kid to crack, a coach recruiting you, because now they want the player that's been there, done that, is like a quick fix. And I think to some extent, even junior college athletes might get overlooked because now you have this transfer portal and you rather get someone that has major college experience as opposed to say JUCO than high school. So do at your level, do you feel the brunt and the effect of the transfer portal now?
I would say I felt it more in high school than I do now. A lot of colleges pass through Hutch. Any level. I mean, you get lowest level we get NAI, but they rarely come through a lot. I mean, we get D1s week in, week out. I wouldn't say it's overlooked as much, but they're definitely look for the guys that um, are experienced or maybe they're college bounce backs. Those tend to be first come, first serve kind of thing. Like they're looking for the hey, we want that dude that maybe had a situation, had to go to a 2 year, um, and then we're gonna bring him back to a 4 year. But no, I wouldn't say overlooked. They're just a lot of it's waiting for your turn or for your opportunity to go out in that field and shine.
Next question I want to ask, because there's another aspect to college athletics that is shaping the landscape, and they just recently came down putting a salary cap. Who would have thought we would hear the word salary cap in college? And that also has to do with the NIL. So, are there any NIL deals at the JUCO level? I'm just curious. I want to know these things. Is there any NIL deals at the JUCO level? Do you get compensated for your time? Say you have to go do a uh, what they call that. I'm going to just say the word show and tell. You got to go to a car lot and shake hands and sign autographs, or go to the local restaurant. Do they do that at the junior college level?
No, not really. I mean, I haven't seen it at least in our league or nationally at least. Most times, I mean, our coaches are constantly spitting into us about go make a name for yourself on the field, and then you can get paid rather than worry about getting paid right now. But I mean, I don't see it on a regular basis. I mean, I haven't seen it the full previous year I was there.
All right. So, in other words, you're there because you love the game. It's for the love of the game. Now, a question I like to ask my student athletes that be on my show, and I know you're in college, but in order to get there, you still have to have the grades. So I always ask this question, and it's a very important question because I know young people uh, tune in. So I want to first, what was your grade point average?
Mine out of high school is a 3.7.
Okay, and I want you to emphasize this. This is the kicker question right here. What is the importance of education? Because when I ask that question, it resonates different, and the answer packs a meaning when it comes from a student athlete, with the emphasis on the student part. Because a lot of people put a stigma on student athletes, especially at the college level. So, how important is education?
I mean, as most student athletes know, I mean, it's a very low percentage that people make it pro. So it's not a backup plan. It's just a plan for later. After I'm done playing college ball, I think it's important because like when we get done playing the sport that many of us love, um, we often have to rely on the grades and the education we got while playing the sport. Um, so I mean, it's just as important as taking care of business on the field.
I can appreciate that. Like I say, pretty much all the athletes that I ask that question, they nail it, and you are no different. Because like I say, at the end of the day, you have a platform. Even though it's at the JUCO level, you're at a platform. National champion. That's a platform. People need to hear that not only am I a national champion quarterback, but I'm also a champion in the classroom, because you never know who it may influence. They may be struggling in the athletic side, but they may have hope on the academic side. And it behooves me to ask that question, but it's even more important that they hear the answer coming from someone who has to grind every day in practice. Then you have to grind every day in the classroom. Uh, Tutors, I'm pretty sure, mentors, uh, the likes. They're helping you get through, because I had a teacher when I went to school. We called it junior high. When you went to school, y'all called it middle school. So there's definitely an age difference right there. You can call me grandpa if you want to. Yeah, I'm pretty old. I just enjoy doing this. But yeah, the importance of sounding the education whistle. So I can appreciate your answer. Now, the process. You went through the process of being recruited, and I'm pretty sure that process is about to happen again, because of, you know, coming out of Hutch Community College. That name is known, national champion, multinational champions now, and you just happen to be on the last wave. I did catch the game on, I think it was like ESPN Plus. I'm like, yeah, I'm sticking my chest out, because at least I could say I went to school there. Didn't amount to nothing, but I went to school there, so I'm sticking my chest out. There's some people here, and I'm gonna make sure he gets this video. His name is Scott Styles. He was a quarterback back in the day. Me and him went to school together. I didn't even know we went to school together. That's crazy. But we worked in radio together. There's another guy, Doug Downs, on KGSO radio here in Wichita. Uh, Felix Johnson. I'm just mentioning these guys because these guys have connections to Hutch Community College. So they would be very proud of the fact that they have a national champion team and the fact that I get to talk to the quarterback of that national champion. So there's a process, and you are a returning player. That's amazing because even in JUCO, they move around. But you decided, I'm coming back. And you sent me a chat, said you're looking forward to the next season because you think y'all can repeat. So elaborate on some of the key players that y'all have coming back and what is it that makes this team special that they could possibly repeat? Because y'all playing the tough JUCO conference, the Jayhawk, whatever the name of that conference is. I mean, y'all got the likes of Butler, the likes of, I guess, Coffeeville is Resurgence, Independence. I mean, y'all run through the gauntlet. So, what is it about this team that has the potential to repeat as champion?
I mean, offensively wise, we got LT Robinson in the slot. He's gonna be pretty dangerous next year. I mean, the reigning MVP. You got Cordell Goldsby. He's coming back. He's gonna be pretty good next year. I mean, he did it once already. He might as well do it again. Um, and then defensive wise, we have one of the best defensive ends I've ever seen. Demarcus Johnson. He's coming back. He's offered by LSU. He's got a bunch of SEC offers. He's gonna be pretty good next year. And then we got David Jester. He's one of our safeties. He's gonna be pretty good next year too. I fully expect him to pick up some big offers. But those are, I mean, key guys that are willing to die on that field to win another one. So
All right. I plan this year because I just recently got back into attending high school sporting events, basketball, football. I've enjoyed the atmospheres at some of the games I've gone to. So it just makes sense. Look me up in the stands. I will be coming to a game or two in Hutch. I definitely want to experience, and because I know it's still a rival, y'all just can't stand each other. A grizzly bear and a blue dragon has never gotten along. So I definitely want to experience that game. I don't care if the game is in Hutch. I don't care if the game is at El Dorado, or if they want to, they can bring the game down here to Wichita to accommodate and play it at the whatever they done named that new stadium down there, the Riverside Stadium. If they bring the game there, I'm definitely going to put on my calendar Butler versus Hutch game that I have to attend. Well, what I want to do now is I want to say thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you. I hate we had this technical difficulty, but I do believe that we made it because, like I said, I'm streaming live on YouTube. I'm streaming live on Twitch.tv. I'm also streaming live on Facebook. So it's good that I can have some type of what I can use as a monitor to help get us through this. And hopefully next time we get you back on, maybe get some of your teammates on here with you, and we just have a big old get together. So I want to say thank you.
I
You
appreciate
deserve
having me.
that for being on the show, and we will definitely do this again. So until the next time, take care of yourself. Good luck this coming up season, and I think y'all's hashtag is uh, breathe fire, something like that.
Yeah.
So go Dragons, breathe fire.
All
Take
right.
care. Once again, my guest on the A Train Sports Talk podcast, Hudson Perez, Hutch Community College quarterback. Looking forward to seeing him play this year. We're going to get him about his day and get ready for our next guest. Hopefully, we can iron out some of these kinks. Uh, we're going to let him go ahead and disconnect. That way, we can get ready for the next guest. Peace, my brother. Bless you. Good luck this season.
Peace.
Once again, my first guest on the A Train Sports Talk podcast, Hudson Perez, uh, Hutchinson Community College. Getting ready for my next guest to chime in. Uh, I've had him on before, and I'm looking forward to having him on again. had him on during the basketball season, or right after the basketball season. But this young man has made his name in track. And the same flair that he has on basketball court, the same flair that he has in track and field. He is passionate about both sports that he does. And what's ironic is he's going to Kansas State University track scholarship. So I'm looking forward to having him on the show. He's going to connect here shortly, hopefully. And I know some of y'all want to know, well, who is he? You'll find out when he get on here. I'm gonna make sure that we have him on here. I'm getting ready to shoot him a message. He said he'd be ready around this time. Of course, I'm glad he has given me some time because I was supposed to have him on as my first guest. But when you work third shift, some things tend to happen. But that's why I say that I have the number one show in the state of Kansas. And like I said, there is no proven data to back it up. And I've talked to some other people that are doing podcasts as well too, and they listen to my show. I'll listen to their show. I'll also give them props on what they're doing. I'm pretty sure they give me props on what I'm doing. Uh, I love the interaction with not only just the people that I interview, but some of these young people I get to meet their parents. Their parents are appreciative of what I do, and for that, I am very appreciative of them for allowing their student athletes to be on the show with me. That says a whole lot. But those of you who were at the state track meet, you probably have an idea of who I'm talking about. I'm still not going to say his name. I'm just going to wait for him to chime in. And when he does, we're going to have a good time. Because he was a great interview the first time. We just had some technical difficulties that first time. This time we have those issues, I do believe, ironed out. Hopefully, we won't have the issue that we had in the first segment. And I do have confirmation that he's about to tap in. And I'm looking forward to having him on. And I'm pretty sure when y'all see him, y'all will appreciate me having him on. Uh, he, like I said, he's ultra talented in both basketball and track. Uh, one of my, I call him my friend. His name is Taylor Eldridge. Some of y'all know him. I asked him, I said, do you think at some point he may put on a basketball uniform? And his response was, why would he risk it when there's a possibility he could be in the 2028 Olympics? Now, let that sink in. Let that marinate. Let that resonate. Think about that. He's saying that this young man could possibly be in the 2028 Olympics. Why risk it? When he said that, all I could do was say, is wow. So that's all the more reason I'm looking forward to having him on the show here because he's a Kansan product. Only thing I would tell you is this right here. He went to Mays High School. So with that being said, there's a chance you know exactly who I am talking about. But I'm still not going to spill the beans as to who he is. But when he chimes in, y'all definitely know who he is. Hmm. So, look like we're having some difficulties bringing him in. So, what I am going to do, I am going to have my next guest call the show. And we're going to do it the old fashioned way. So, y'all are going to hear the audio, but y'all won't see the video. Like they say, there's more than one way to skin the cat. And I do believe that we have my next guest on. We're doing this the old fashioned way. For some reason, the link isn't allowing him, and I'm live right here looking at my own self on the screen, looking at myself on Facebook Live. But my next guest, I've been talking about him. Uh, he's a young man, very humble young man, and I'm glad to have him on, and I hope he can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, he can hear me. Because everything I'm about to say, he's humble enough to where he can take it, but he has a flair on the basketball court. But what I also discovered is he has a flair and a passion when it comes to track and field. I had him on shortly after the basketball season, and he told me about where his flair and his passion came from. But then I seen it full blossom at the state track meet from a lot of the highlights. I asked the question before when he was on my show, is there a possibility you may put on the basketball uniform? Well, I want to say this in his presence while he could hear this. I asked Taylor Elridge that same question. Everybody knows who Taylor Elridge is. Even my guests know who Taylor Elridge is. And here's what he had to say. And I want this young man to take this all in. He said, why would he risk it when he could possibly be in the 2028 Olympics? My guest for the second time, only this time on the phone line, Alan Justin Hanna. Bro, thanks for joining me once again. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Man, when you cleared that bar, that hurdle, that high jump, everybody was talking. And I seen the excitement. It was like you had just had an alley-oop slam dunk and made somebody a poster. When you're on that track, what's the difference between being on the basketball court and being out there on that track setting high jump records? What's the difference? Because the excitement looks the same, but what's the difference?
Yeah, the excitement's the same. The difference is it's just you and the bar. There's no other person on the track against you.
Man. And it would just appear to me that everything you do, you put your all into it. When you're on that basketball court, you find something on the opposing court to get you hyped up. In other words, you like playing on enemy territory. And that's not to say you don't like playing at home, but it's like playing on enemy territory. It brings out something in you. But on that track, man, it's like you say, it's just you. It's just that bar. So that being said, and I like I said, I want you to hear what Taylor Elder told me. Is the Olympics something that you think about, or do you just put in the grind every day? And if it happens, you're humble and blessed to have that opportunity. Is that something you thought about?
Yeah, it has because in 2 weeks, basically next week, I'm going to Oregon for the U20 championships to high jump. So I feel like that's just one step closer to going to the Olympics.
man. And people wonder why come I'm so appreciative of my guests. It's guests like you. You could have easily said, "Oh, okay, he missed the first appointment," but you made yourself available so we could reschedule this on this day. And as humble as you are, I'm equally humble and appreciative that you still made the time. So I want to apologize publicly because, us third shift people and us old people, sometimes we tend to oversleep, and that's what happened. So my apologies on that. But once again, I'm very appreciative that you still took this time. So when you go out there to Oregon, there's going to be a lot of other track athletes as well too. Uh,
Yeah.
is this pretty much like vying for a spot for the future Olympics, or how do you view this? I mean, what is the preparation
I
that
view
goes
this.
into it?
Sorry, I view this as kind of a starting point in the next step of my track career because when I go to Oregon, there's only going to be the best of the best I'm going to be competing against. There's going to be, some other jumpers jumping 7'2". There's many jumpers over 7 foot, obviously. So it's going to be a real challenge. So it's just going to help me do better in the future, knowing that there's other competition out there that if I'm not working hard enough, then they're going to catch up to me.
All right. Now I have to ask this question because your DNA simply is you train for basketball. You train and prepare to be one of the best on that court. Got some postseason accolades. Uh, in track, you train and you prepare. What's the difference in the preparation of the two sports? Because I know basketball at the end of the day is still a team sport, but what is the difference in the preparation of the two?
So in basketball, there's kind of two sides of the preparation that goes into it. You have to memorize your plays and watch film on yourself to know how you can get better in your position. And then on the other side, it's how is the other team working with each other and how do they work with each other so that they can beat us. There's two sides of that, but in track, it's really just how can I get this technique down to do better at, whatever. It's really only about you in track.
Oh, okay, so there is a difference in the two when it comes to preparation. All right. Tell me this. You're going to Kansas State on a track scholarship, and we applaud that. Definitely applaud that. You maintained good grades, and that was evident on the last time I had you on because you let your grade point average be known. You emphasized the importance of maintaining a good education. With all
Yeah.
this going on in your career right now, and I know right now school is not in session, so you can focus solely on track. But then when that time comes, because I'm just curious, how does a person, especially someone who excels, not just plays, but how does one who excels in two sports also manage to keep the grades? Because it's like you're pulled in every direction. You're pulled in the basketball direction. You're pulled in the track direction, and you're also pulled to excel in education. So there's like three things pulling at you. How do you manage to balance all that and maintain those good grades? Because I know when you go to college, it's going to be just as tough.
Yeah. Honestly, my senior year was pretty easy. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't have that many assignments to actually do, but my junior year, it was pretty hard. I got the homework piled up on top of me, but I also had others to help me out on the way. I had some teammates in the class with me, and I could, go over some stuff with them. Also, my parents helped me out with the homework. So, some sacrifices had to be made, just because, on the weekends, you got to go to these big tournaments for basketball, and then you also have practices on some weekends. So, it was pretty hard, honestly.
But you had the main thing is you had that support system, and that goes
Yeah,
that goes a long way. So
very.
who
Yeah, it was. made everything so much easier.
Who are some of the people that when they hear this, they may say, "I know he just didn't call my name. I'm gonna get him," but they'll appreciate you. But they'll appreciate that you did this. Who are some of the people that you want to give a shout out to that has been instrumental in your success? You can call them by name. I got your back.
Obviously my parents, but in the classroom I had, Alan Grill, I had Charles Sharp. I also had Caden Lambert helping me out. In the math class, I had some teammates. I had Drew Kemp helping me out before he left Mays. So it was, they had a lot of part in that, big part in it.
That's good. Because the one thing that people have always mentioned, they say never forget those who helped you get to where you are at. So I know you have some preparation to do. I want you to be able to enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I'm probably going to try to enjoy me a little bit more sleep because I got to go back into work again tonight. Man, I'm getting too old to be doing this. I wish I had your youthful energy. That two sport.
Don't even look at me, man, because I have a grad party tomorrow. I wouldn't be up this early if I didn't have it.
I hear you, but it was worth me sacrificing some time to get you back on. I just said we couldn't get the video side up, but we got the audio going. So once again, this makes everything that I do worth it. To have guests like you on. Shout out me. I'm gonna also shout out to your parents as well too, because I'm always appreciative of the parents who allow their young people to be on my show. You know, I'm pretty sure you talked over with them before the first time, so that's why
Yeah.
I'm just grateful and thankful to you, the guest, the parents of the guest, the coaches. I mean, it is people like you and my first guest that make this worth what I do all the more enjoyable. So I want you to be able to enjoy the rest of your Saturday. All right. Do what you gotta do. If you're gonna get some sleep, hey, I ain't mad at you. Your body probably needs the rest because you got a long week or so coming up down there in Oregon, preparing yourself for the next aspect of your track career. And I wish you nothing but the best. Make Kansas proud. Make Mays so proud of you that at the end of the day, they're gonna have to name a street in Mays after you.
Oh, thank you for all that support, man.
All right. Have a great day, man. Thank you for being on
Yes,
the
sir.
show.
You too.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Once again, my guest, don't know what's going on. The link would not allow him. The link told him no one was on the call, but I'm live right now. So we'll figure that out. I'm just glad that there's more than one way to skin a cat's rear end. Y'all know that old saying. Uh, like I say, I have some of the best guests that come on here. Uh, Hudson Farrella is quarterback at Hudson Community College. I had to wing it. I had to kind of look at my live Facebook monitor to hear his audio. There are things sometimes in this business that you have to do that will test your fortitude. And like I said, we couldn't get the video side up for Justin Allen Hannah, but we could hear the audio. So appreciative to both of my guests. Uh, Programming note: I normally don't put a lot of personal business out, but on this note, next week on Wednesday, I will be going in for a heart procedure. I will be getting what's called an ICD. Some know there's a pacemaker, some knows there's a defibrillator. All all three wrapped in one, whatever you want to call it. I will be having that procedure done next Wednesday on June the 11th. So your prayers will be greatly appreciated. It's something that my cardiologist tends to think that I need, and we've had some deaths in our family. One of my cousins passed away from a massive heart attack. So it tends to make you take life a little bit more. Not that I don't take it seriously, but when you think about the fact that I want to be able to spend a little bit more time with my grandchildren, I'm pretty sure my wife wants me around a little bit longer, spend more time with her, uh, spend more time doing the things I enjoy doing, which is entertaining the people here, right here. doing this right here, which is why I post all my links, my YouTube link. Of course, you got me on Facebook Live now. Uh, those of you who tune in, I appreciate you immensely. I can't say thank you enough. Uh, those of you who listen to the podcast version, because once this show is done, it will be podcasted. So I always say, especially if you got Spotify, leave comments in the comment section. Please, by all means, listen to the show, leave comments. Even if you just say hello, I'll listen to your show. Leave comments in the comment section on Spotify. I know at least half y'all that listen to this will have access to Spotify. But with that being said, you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. I'm not going to bore you with anything else. I know the NBA playoffs is happening right now. We'll talk about that on my other podcast. But I want you guys to be able to enjoy your Saturday. So get out and enjoy weekend. Me, I'm probably going to go back down south. That means lay down and get me a few more hours of sleep. Get ready for work tonight. Until the next time, take care of yourself and each other. If it rains again, try to stay dry. Until next time, be blessed. Be a blessing. I'm out.